This is exciting times for all of us here at Edge, as we have some excellent news, especially excellent news for our farms. Can we go on to the next slide, please? Sorry, folks. So some of the basic components of our program was really looking at what can we do to complement our farms and the work that they're doing. We realize this sustainability really begins from the bottom up, begins on the farm. Over 6 years ago, Edge made the decision to really support local groups, local farms, really wanting to do better with everything that they're doing on their farms. And we have several watershed groups, as you all know here, especially here in the state of Wisconsin. They're very vibrant, very engaged. They're really moving the direction of where they're going with their farms based on data, based on good practices, and based on learning. So it's really been important that we really focus on really what works on farms and help cascade that up through the value chain to our processors and to the end users. So we have been very active, as I've said, for years. You see us on social media and with our channel partner, Farmers for Sustainable Food, which Lauren heads up. She manages all the watershed groups and the sustainability efforts. But we really made it a top priority for us to advance these practices. Also, we've been very inclusive. We really want to work with a lot of our channel partners. We had over 14 co-applicants in our submission to USDA. This has really been spearheaded by a multi-partner project aimed at expanding our climate smart markets and establishing dairy and sugar as climate smart commodities. Now, you would ask, why sugar? Well, many of our processors who work with the value chain, dairy and sugar go hand in hand, and also there's a lot of sugar beets raised in the upper Midwest. So we decided to go ahead and align with the sugar industry in this proposal. Again, we want to be inclusive, not exclusive. So we were really excited to have them be a part of our initiative. Next slide, please. So our partner, yep. So why did we do this? Well, again, it comes back to really making sure that farmers are at the table. Farmers could really have a way into this. And really, we want to monetize this. We want farmers to be able to, as we look at the whole climate conversation, and especially if we look at evolving markets where farmers can hopefully monetize the work that they're doing. So we really wanted to make sure that farmers are at the center of this, that we give them all the tools they need. And Edge really believes that from a sustainability standpoint, not only on farms, but just as dairy as a category, we have to work in a very inclusive environment for all parts of this. Up is all of our partners that we have listed here. We have not only processors, but we've got our university system. We have other NGOs. We've got a lot of on the farm projects already being implemented. We have engineering companies. So we have a really broad cast of partners in this to really help complement what we're doing. Next slide. So the model, what I'd like to really talk about now is we're going to turn this over to Lauren to kind of talk about the models that we're using, and I'll circle back at the end of this presentation. But again, thank you for joining, and Lauren, would you like to take it from here?
Sure, thanks, Tim. Thanks everyone for joining us this morning. Farmers for Sustainable Food is excited to be part of this effort, and Farmers for Sustainable Food, along with key partners, developed and launched our framework for farm-level sustainability projects. This framework is a how-to guide for a successful project in the space, and it really emphasizes farmers leading the way. It's not about prescribing practices. And we know that sustainability efforts are more effective when they come from the ground up. Farmers find solutions, and this is why our current projects begin with them, and projects that are under the umbrella of this grant will also be farmer-focused. So the framework is the basis for this effort. It's a free resource and available to anyone, and you can access it at farmersforsustainablefood.com if you're interested in learning more. We'll also be working with a wide variety of project partners and supporters for expanding our farmer-led project model. Projects will have to meet certain criteria. Again, farmer-focused is going to be one of those main components. And as Tim mentioned, a major partner of ours beyond dairy will be wheat sugar. We're excited to expand our framework and our farmer-led model beyond dairy. Many food companies are customers of both dairy and sugar, so it makes sense that we share best practices. Our application has a three-pronged approach: farmers, processors, and conservation organizations. Each of these groups will be helping organize projects. Next slide, Travis. Thank you. Projects will follow a cycle of gathering information on current practices, trying new practices determined by the participating farmers and partners, then assessing the outcomes of those practices and the co-benefits. Sharing results with farmers is a key component because we want to make sure that farmers understand their data and can use it to better manage their farms and make informed decisions and have the support needed to do that. We'll also share aggregated results with partners, and part of the cycle will also be delivering enhanced technical assistance and financial assistance to make these projects happen. Another component of our projects will be testing several technologies and modeling methods to determine what's most effective for the partners involved. And not only will we analyze environmental outcomes of conservation, but we're going to be exploring the financial implications of conservation practices on farm businesses through partners like the Center for Farm Financial Management, using their FinPAC program, and working with local technical colleges. EDGE will also be convening partners to explore market development through private industry, return on investment studies, and the Climate Finance Governance Board that will develop a structure for aligning outcomes with finance market requirements and advise farmer-led projects and harmonization. Peer review is going to be critical in the effort. EDGE and our partners will convene experts, including farmers, industry, scientists, and partners to review science-based approaches used in the projects, as well as market development needs to make sure that we can help facilitate farmers being compensated for the work that they're doing. So our main takeaway is that a key component of our effort is ensuring farmers are supported with data collection, analysis, and understanding so they can use their data to better manage their farms, and also exploring how projects can support farmers to use their data to on-ramp into existing greenhouse gas markets. So with that, I'm going to turn it to Michael to talk about next steps.
Thanks, Lauren. Now I'm going to talk about the USDA process, what they're looking for, and next steps. So if Travis, you can go to the next slide. So the Biden administration has been hyper-focused on climate change and climate change mitigation from the outset. You see that theme in every agency, and it's taken into account with almost every action that this administration has taken across the board. Many think agriculture has an outsized role to play, and USDA has been very focused on how agriculture can help in this conversation. There was a lot of concern early on, of course, that they go beyond voluntary incentives. So we were very happy to see the Partnerships for Climate Smart Commodities Grant Program announcement on February 7th. The goal of the grant, as stated by USDA, is to finance pilot projects that create market opportunities for U.S. agriculture and forestry products that use climate smart practices and include innovative, cost-effective ways to measure and verify greenhouse gas benefits. And these pilot programs would all be 5-year projects. So we see the Climate Smart Commodities Program as a recognition from USDA that there's more than one path to do this, and there are still so many unknowns in this area, especially in terms of measuring, quantifying, and on-farm record keeping and feasibility. So we knew USDA wanted to see grant applications that could connect these practices to the marketplace and that farmers could benefit from implementing these practices. The original announcement was for $1 billion worth of grants. It had 2 tranches of funding available, those above $500,000 and those below. We applied for a larger grant, which was due first on May 6th. Smaller funding, smaller grants submissions were due a month later. So EDGE was in a good position, as Lauren discussed, because our Farmers for Sustainable Food and farmer-led watershed groups, we already had a framework. So we talked to our leadership and staff and decided to go ahead and with putting an application together. And we had the help of Houston Engineering, our consulting firm, who helped us all the way along the way. So we had countless meetings through, a couple months there in the spring with countless partners, and that finally led to a final submission. USDA had to sift through over 1,000 submissions asking for more than $20 billion in funding. And since this is a brand new program, we knew USDA kind of had in mind what they wanted to see in any application, but there's no template. And we knew it might take them a while to get through all of these applications as they made final decisions on what they wanted. So fast forward to last week. We were excited to learn that we were one of just 70 submissions that were chosen. USDA actually raised the amount of funding from the original $1 billion to $3.5 billion. $2.8 billion of that was put towards these larger grants that were announced last week, and the rest will go towards the smaller sub $500,000 grants, which have not been announced yet, and I'm not sure when those will be announced. So EDGE's grant was funded at $50 million. Our final submission requested a little bit more than that from USDA, but they're looking to stretch their dollars to fund these pilot programs. And ultimately, we are very, very happy with the level of funding we received. So when do these projects get off the ground? Well, like I said, we're funded at a different level than we applied for, which I understand is the case with most, if not all, of the submissions. So we have to alter the original plan a little bit. We may have to alter the original plan a little bit. We're meeting with USDA on October 4th to discuss what parts of the project they are willing to fund and figure out what a final contract looks like. We don't have any idea how fast all of these final details will come together and when we can finally start our work on our Climate Smart projects. So these question marks on my slide are not a mistake or an oversight. It's a real representation of what the grantees know at the moment as far as how the finalized process will play out. But we will certainly keep everyone in the loop and up to date as we learn more from USDA and work with our partners to finalize details. And going forward, as they're implemented, USDA will monitor the results of these 70 programs and try to determine what works and what doesn't work in terms of climate impact and on-farm feasibility. But we are confident that over the life of our 5-year grant, EDGE and its partners can demonstrate that farmer-led projects make a huge difference and that these voluntary programs are the best way forward for USDA to approach the climate issue heading into the future. So I will turn it back to Tim at this point to finish up.
Thank you, Mikkel and Lauren, both for your efforts in this matter. I want to come back to, building from the ground up is really the whole initiative, and it's really building on what our farmers do best. And it's exciting to see that we're giving a nod by USDA that they're giving the vote of confidence to EDGE to drive this thing forward. In statement that Brody Staple made here soon after the announcement, I think is indicative of where we're going as an organization. We're leading into it. We're leaning into it. We want to drive change. We want to drive change that's positive for dairy, but most importantly, positive for our members. And I think whenever you empower farmers to look at a challenge, they're always going to stand up for the call and do what needs to be done. So I think about just initially when I was listening to Mikkel, I think I can think of over 40 EDGE members right now who are actively engaged in some of these projects. So when you think about that, that's pretty important. And I know that USDA really was taken back by the amount of farms that we have involved voluntarily in this program. So I guess it's up to us as EDGE members to really drive this forward, because this is an opportunity you don't get very often. And I think we're going to set the stage for hopefully more opportunities to bring more people to the table to really give us some certainty as we develop our markets and develop our farms for the future. So with that, I would like to thank all of you and the EDGE members for supporting the organization like you have. If it wasn't for your efforts and your support, we wouldn't be here today talking about this. So with that, I mean, we obviously can, look at us on our social media. We have a very vibrant social media. There's always a lot of information there. You can go to our website, voiceofmilk.com, and there's the / page in Climate Smart Commodities. You can go ahead and take a look at that, or you can reach out to any of us. I mean, we're very accessible. And again, when we had a discussion with USDA at the end of the press conference last week, we had a discussion with them, and they admitted that this is a big project that they've never done before. So I think it's going to be a learning experience, not only for us, but also the USDA, but that's also an opportunity. It's an opportunity to really craft this for a better end for all of us. So with that, I think we'll open it up for any questions anybody may have of any of us. So with that, we'll open it up.
Yeah, so if I just allowed microphone permissions for everyone on the call. So if you have a question, you can either type it in the chat, or you can raise your hand, and we'll call on questions as they come out. All right, Sarah Lloyd has a question.
Yeah, sorry, I was having trouble with Microsoft Teams, so I was a little late in the door. So you probably talked about this. So if you did, you can disregard it. I'll call you later. But can you just give an overview a little bit of how the chunks of funding in that 50 million are structured, like in broad categories?
I can take a stab at that, Sarah. Thanks for the question. We really don't have a whole lot of guidance. Again, as Michael mentioned, we just know we have a funding cap, and our original budget was more than what we are being awarded. So we're going to have to revisit it. We're not aware if they'll be telling us to cut certain pieces out, or if they just want to see a reduction in all areas. So we have to figure that out. But I will say that a majority of the funding, I don't recall the percentage off the top of my head, but I believe it was for sure over 50%, was going to somehow go directly to farmers, whether that's through some sort of incentive for practices. But really what we are hoping to accomplish is that it's more of compensating farmers for outcomes. Not necessarily if you plant cover crops or you implement a certain practice, you'll get a payment, because we know there's a lot of cost share available already for programs like that. But instead, being more outcome driven, and however farmers can achieve outcomes is really up to them and to the partners that they're working with. So that's what we're hoping to see. But again, the majority will be somehow going to farmers to support their efforts and their outcomes on the farm.
Thanks, Lauren. Question came in through the chat. Is all this money for EDGE?
I can take a stab at that too, and then Tim and Michael can follow up if I missed something. But EDGE is going to be administering funding. So we aren't going to, because we have 14 main partners on the project, but then we also had multiple organizations write letters of support indicating that they would be supportive and interested in collaborating with our efforts if we were to be funded. The idea is that EDGE will receive the money, but then for projects that meet the criteria that will be set, again, based on what we learned from USDA in our conversation about what they're looking for, we can then issue sub-awards to projects that will happen, again, through beet sugar or other dairy markets that maybe EDGE isn't a part of. But there will definitely be a large component for EDGE and EDGE members as it makes sense with the various partners that we have. But it's really more about bringing all these partners to the table, and EDGE kind of being that convening supporter of different efforts to really have a greater impact.
And I think it's important to note, Lauren, the amount of match that we had that came along with this proposal. Do you remember what that number was?
Not off the top of my head.
But it was substantial amount of match was provided by all these organizations. So in kind that they're going to support this in kind as well. So that was substantial amount of money as well in time.
Another question came in through the chat. How will outcomes be measured through this grant initiative?
Another great question. We are going to be using a variety of models. Specifically, EDGE projects will have different models that we're using, but again, the projects we already have happening through Farmers for Sustainable Food are using nationally recognized metrics like field to market, field print platform. If you're not familiar with field to market, definitely take a look after this project, but we also had Syngenta come on as a partner. So we'll be looking at using different tools and testing them out with farmers to see, what the differences are, what is most effective for all the partners involved. So really a variety of models will be tested, and then hopefully convening those discussions again among the partners to say, where did we find value? Where do we need to see improvements in these different tools? And then another, I think, outcome that's important is really just how do we help farmers better manage their data, get the support to do so, and again, on-ramp into those climate markets, like carbon markets, for example. So if you're a farmer who is interested in that space, but not really ready to take the plunge, we're hoping that some of our projects can help facilitate you using your data, understanding it, and then onboarding into maybe an already established market to be compensated for your work.
Awesome. Any more questions from the group? Oh, here we got another one coming in. Who is the UW Extension partner?
Sure, great question. We are working with Tim Bay to look at that Climate Finance Governance Board and develop something to help support, again, farmers monetizing the work that they're doing. So that will be a component, but through some of the farmer-led projects that FSF already works with, we do work closely with UW Extension agents in local counties, like our Lafayette County project. So I do think that the UW Extension relationship won't just be with one individual or one component of that program, because we know those agents work really closely, and not only in Wisconsin but across the country with farmers. So really relying on extension agents in that model where it makes sense to be part of our conversations and our projects.
Another question came in. Is there a timeline for projects to be finished, or is this going to be an ongoing project? I believe USDA said the initial funding is to be over 5 years. Do you guys have any inclination as to what happens next?
The projects will be funded at 5 years. And again, we don't know exactly what that funding looks like. It'll ramp up a little bit over those 5 years as the projects get implemented. But that is the current timeline for our project.
Worth mentioning, I think at the press conference last week, that question was asked of Secretary Vilsack, and he let it be known that his vision for this is to go beyond just the 5 years, but that's where the initial funding came in. Awesome. Any other questions from the group today? All right. Well, thanks for everyone for joining us today. Again, we'll have this recording of the webinar available and posted on the website. And anyone has any additional questions and didn't feel comfortable asking today, feel free to reach out to the team. Thanks, everyone.